Hey everyone, Magic Lover coming back at you with a little deck tech on a deck I played a while ago and have updated a little since then. Sorry if you saw a previous video on this redoing the deck tech. I was having trouble with my screen recorder, trying a different program right now, so giving this a whirl. Anyway, this is Enchantatog, or as I call it now, SOS, or Sack on Stack. And the whole deck, as you can tell, is to get enablers in play, which lets you sack a permanent, specifically an enchantment, while the trigger is on the stack, and things that abuse that. So, namely, you want any of the enchantments that exile your opponent's stuff and have a separate enter and leave trigger, which is these guys. Works really great. So it comes in, you put the trigger targeting the thing, then you sack it to one of your critters or claws. The return trigger happens, nothing happens because of it. The creature gets bigger, or you gain the life, and then the thing goes away forever. This deck can go 1-for-1 with fair decks, no problem. The big fun is getting everything back. Everything is permanent, everything's an enchantment, so it all loves to come back via replenish. The other big engine of the deck is Hatching Plans, which in this deck is pretty close to Ancestral Recall. And you get to cast it multiple times because it keeps coming back. So it is wonderful that way. Attunement also is a great engine. So you just keep filling your graveyard and get them back. This is particularly evil, Parallax Tide, and I'll explain why I don't play Parallax Wave in a minute. But Parallax, you basically just stack the triggers up. So this comes into play. You take retaining priority. You snap 5 of your opponent's lands, and then sack the trigger, or sack the enchantment, and their lands are exiled forever. And then bring it back, rinse and repeat until they cry and rage quit. So that's a fun little deal. And then last but not least, I eschew the one cantrip package, Ponder, Brainstorm, and the like, to play Ancient Tune and Chalice of the Void. It just shuts down a lot of decks, gets a lot of free wins. So that's a lot of fun. The sideboard is kind of loose. I mean, I threw in 4 ley lines, just nerfed so many decks that try to strip your hand or burn. Rest in Peace, great answer to anything graveyard related. The only problem in this deck is you can't get it because I'm not playing Lotus Petals. You can't get it out on turn 1, so that is a drawback. Once in a while, Dredge will get me. Moat and Sphere are wonderful, pillow fort kind. Parallax Tide, just because when you play lands or something that's land heavy, this is just a great backbreaking, so I'll take out, stuff like Journey and throw in more Parallax Tides, and it's, killer. Opalescence, because sometimes I've played, real heavy removal decks and just can't stick an ATOG to win over time, which you can Alpha Strike by sacking everything, replenishing it, bringing it back, sacking it, and discarding stuff to make something, lethal for an Alpha Strike. So Opalescence is a great way to close out the game as well from an outside angle. Here's the fun one, Reality Acid. So read this careful. When it leaves the battlefield, permanent controller sacrifices it. This comes in as a 3-for-3 swap when not playing a lot of creature-heavy decks, because there's enough other creature removal or ways to deal with creatures. So Reality Acid comes in because it can hit any permanent. Planeswalkers, lands, enchantments, artifacts, you name it, and you can do horrible things with it. Obviously, the simplest is you put it in play, you put it on something, you sack it, you bring it back, you put on more of their crap, you sack it. But you can put this in play, O-ring it, it leaves the battlefield, they sack it, then you eat the O-ring, comes back into play, put another thing, then you eat it, so you can 2-for-1 this, or 3-for-1 this, many times, and then of course get them all back. So it's a fun deck, it's goofy, it takes people from left field, and I'll run it through. I've been playing it a fair amount online, and it's a lot of fun. So anyway, that's the deck tech, and we'll run through some games shortly.